to Riptide 2022. My name is Falco Flyer, and I'm joined here with somebody who you guys just saw on stream. Mr. Popgun, how are you doing today?
We'll find out in about 30 minutes or so. The teams that are playing in the beginning of Top Cut on stream right now are Licensed to Krill and the Inkloyers. And I don't know if we're going to show the rosters or not, but I am on the roster for the Inkloyers. So I have a bit of a bias here, but not that it's going to show through in the commentary, I'll tell you that.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you sure? Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
But I can still technically sub in. So if this goes dire and we get to a Hydra map, you might just have to solo this.
Okay, yeah, you know, I don't want you to influence, especially with like channel points. Good thing you said you won't be biased beforehand.
No, I'll still gamble channel points.
Okay.
I might not be biased, but I definitely don't have integrity.
Gotcha.
That is for sure.
That's good to know.
So I talked to Greg from Licensed to Krill before we went on, just to give the insights into this match, and Greg was alluding to the fact that all these players on the stage are friends with each other. They've been playing against each other or with each other for a long time, many years. And Greg was saying, like, I hope these guys do well, but they're in my way right now. So that's not something I'm really concerned about until this match is over. From the side of the Inkloyers, talked to Fusion a little bit, and they said they felt confident. They know that the turtle tent is going to be coming out. One of the few environments where tent actually works. But how they're going to deal with it, they've got some tricks up their sleeves.
Yeah.
But Fusion did allude to the fact that this Game 1 Tower Control Manta Maria isn't something they're crazy confident with their comp versus the opponent. But if Bishop's Blaster pops off like we expect it to, they're going to give Licensed to Krill all they can handle.
All right, let's get started with our first game of the top 16. Let's go.
The Kinsa Jr. coming out from the side of Fusion. Fusion can also do Blob, but I guess in a comp like this, you want a little bit more paint to go along with the fact that Roundy is not doing in-zap. So the armor is going to be coming from DRF's Tri-Slosher, but from the side of Bronze, doing C-Jet as well. You know what? I'm glad I'm not playing in this one because Bronze is the most frustrating player to play against when you're
you know, that is something I have heard, and it looks like we are going to get some quick work here from Licensed to Krill, getting 3 splats in, getting the full wipe, quickly approaching this first checkpoint, and they are making very quick work of this. They have 2 missiles at the ready to push through.
And look at Bishop getting up into the spot of the enemy bunker wall up top there, forcing everybody back. Bronze back here, firing this Stingray across this the checkpoint. It is now the last player left alive, able to take care of DRF, but doesn't have enough juice to save this checkpoint right now. Roundy doing a good job of keeping Bronze back and keeping the fight away from the tower. And this is starting to look pretty dire for Licensed to Krill.
Yeah, it certainly is. And what was very hard there for the C-Jet, they were not in a position that they could push forward and get the stop. But that's going to be the wipe. That's going to be the wipe that Licensed to Krill needs in order to stop this very dominant Inkloyers team as they were pushing forward. And let's see what Licensed to Krill can do as they try and take back mid.
I guess it's worth pointing out Turtle is not on tent right now, obviously, but instead the Tri-Slosher still leading the pack with 3 KA on the defensive side for Licensed to Krill. They're going to have to find a way to get some more picks, though, as of right now, man advantage and map control still in the favor of the Lawyers.
Yeah, and I mean, Licensed to Krill, they did get the tower back to mid, and they do have a player advantage. And it looks like now they are going to be taking the tower and getting some more picks. But look, a very nice pick, and Bishop trying to stay alive, but winning a 2v1, getting 1 pick, trying to find the next player. But no, just not enough map control to move around.
You know, it's normally missiles and armor is enough to eliminate blasters, why you don't see it that much. But when you play it as often as Bishop does, you find ways around the counters to that. And so far, Bishop is cooking. Greg trying to do some damage right here and keep Bishop honest so the rest of the Licensed to Krill players can hop in, but not much going right now. Grim Range is cooking.
9 KA already, not even halfway through this game with the time remaining. And 2 players are going to be down there for Licensed to Krill as Inkloyers trying to get this tower once again. Thankfully, they don't have to get past their checkpoints. And look at this map control by the Inkloyers.
Yeah, and it comes down to the defensive positions. That Stingray's coming out early, but nobody else can get onto the tower to combine with it. Greg's doing a good job of staying near it, firing off the missiles as well, forcing everybody back. But they need to find ways to get some splats. Right now, it's Bronze leading the pack from the anchor position, which most of those are defensive splats, but they need to find ways to get the fight on the lawyer side of the map so they can start creating some room to work with.
Yeah, especially getting the K
Just like that.
Yeah, getting the K Pro up there, but it's going to be very difficult. And now Inklayers trying to respawn, but they don't once again have a ton of map control to work with. Again, they have a decent lead, and if they let License to Krill push forward just a little bit, that's fine. And it looks like License to Krill is at the first checkpoint for the first time with all their players alive.
Yeah, the question is, can they get past this first one and be in a good position? Oh, if Turtle can get back up there and get that splat. They had the position on Roundy, just couldn't stay on the wall long enough right there. And they don't even get across the first checkpoint. A minute 30 left to go, but a 2.5 checkpoint deficit is pretty massive on this map.
Especially with the map control that the Inklayers have now and having a lot of their players pushing up. And look at them taking them down on the left side. Bronze trying to stay alive, getting this pick 1v1, and now has the Ray ready, able to get one pick. Going to have to set themselves in a very good position with having some of their players alive, pushing this tower and using their Stingray.
And again, as long as Turtle can stay up there, they can find a way to get past. But they're not guarding the left side at all. You see Dan doing a bit of a wall here. Greg rotating over there, recognizing the weakness of their attack, and now able to get a trade up top. But now recognizing, uh-oh, Bishop's on the left here. If Turtle can get this fall-off splat, where did they go? Houdini in the house. It's enough to clear the checkpoint, but finally gets away. But still a big mountain they got to climb in only 40 seconds to do it.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty difficult, but I mean, they have two players down, and the Inklayers pushing closer to mid. Bronze is ready up top, and I do want to point out, already 15 KA using this Ray, trying to get one more. Is that going to be three players? It is going to be 3 players, so this could be a movement for License to Krill to push forward.
Yeah, and at this point, I kind of wanted to see Bronze be the one pushing up and get up on that wall and let somebody else ride the tower. They don't really have an answer for that C-Jet right now, but now you have no time to work with. Turtle getting a nice splat there. And 2 players going down for the Lawyers, and this is a fantastic position all of a sudden. Bishop being the last player left alive on the catwalk, and Fusion building up bubbles along that right side as they do find a way, but Fusion jumping onto the tower, gets taken down by Dan, and now it's just a K-shot of Roundy left alive. They just got to get to that second point, and that is a wipe!
This is going to be a wonderful push, and it looks like it might be the win for License to Krill. What a comeback. They turned it up in the last minute of that match. The Inklayers, prior to the last minute, just showed so much map control, winning the 1v1s. But no, License to Krill able to come out on top and get that win.
Inklayers had the better opening, and they were able. And again, you look at the KA battles, and it looks like License to Krill just dominated the entire time. That's not the case.
Yeah.
A lot of those splats are just on the defensive end, just trying to keep their head above water. But once they were able to get into the position they needed to, finally at the end of the game, they were able to just kind of take advantage of the fact that the Inklayers just fell apart and didn't have a good way to bail themselves out of that final situation that was going there. But credit to License to Krill to sticking around, absorbing the punches, and finally landing the final blow they needed.
Yeah, you know, that getting through that first checkpoint the first time made it easier for them to push forward. And I mean, when you have the tower and you're able to get nearly 2 wipes, you know you have the momentum working for you. I
mean, that's the opening that the Inklayers had. And again, the opening from the Inklayers was just better, and that dictates how the rest of the game goes. But obviously we saw just how competitive both of those matches were, and we'll see if the Inklayers can bounce back here. Again, I kind of alluded to that game 1. They weren't feeling confident going into that one anyways. But here we are, Rainmaker at the Canal. We'll see if things change a little bit as Fusion busts out the blob, and there is the classic Turtle tent. Yep,
blob, not something you see every day. Turtle's tent, you were mentioning that earlier on our stream. And let's see who's going to get this first pop. And it looks like License to Krill pushing towards the Rainmaker a little earlier than the Inklayers. But Turtle just using the Brella, just getting a feel for who's ever pushing this way. I'm going to make sure you can't get past me with the Brella. And with that, one player's going to go down to License to Krill.
You know, traditionally on this map, you don't go for the pop first because it doesn't do anything for you. But there we go. That is why Fusion is using that blob specifically, that bomb rush, the extra pressure that they can provide, as well as the paint that comes down there. But there's Bronze's Stingray that got shut down, and now all of a sudden Roundy able to slip past because of it, and this push still isn't over because this blob is going to pop the Rainmaker and create some space for them to work with, but somebody behind the Rainmaker could just grab it. I guess nobody else is there?
No, and it's too risky to jump in. You know, Fusion was in such a good spot, but unfortunately didn't have the support, so Bishop is going to pick up the Rainmaker just to keep it alive, but it looks like DRF struggling to get away, and they are going to get the jump out. I don't know how that happened, but this is the same opening push that they had in the previous game where License to Krill had an amazing response.
Yeah, and again, it's Rainmaker, so who cares at this point? It's still a tie ball game until the game is over. But this comp that License to Krill has is built for defense versus offense, especially with this Stingray. But if you can be more aggressive with that tent, especially if you get those hammers going, as they are going right behind the tent, right up through this right side, and the hammer popped at the perfect time. But Dan being the last person left alive, it's not enough to get lead. In any other scenario, that would be a fantastic push.
Yeah, working great with the Barella, just sticking with the Barella. And it's nice that they had two players pushing on each side that just serve as a distraction, potentially get some flank splats. So not quite enough to get the lead that they wanted, but a fantastic push nonetheless.
Bishop and Turtle, good long-time teammates in pickup scenarios that they've been in over the course of Splatoon 2, going at it right there. And now we see Dan subbing in from A2P, coming in and getting some nice splats along there as well. But yeah, Turtle's tent, I said this comp was more defensive, but as long as they find ways to work with that tent, they can create the space they need to slip through, as they almost got that lead that last time. But you're going to see a lot of bombs being chucked at Turtle over the course of the next 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh, certainly. Doing anything they possibly can to break the Barella. And I do like the Ink Mine placement, even though it got splatted right away. Now, Bronze has a Rainmaker, a very nice pick by Bishop, and now chasing down the Rainmaker to make sure that they can't get the lead. And it looks like they're Bishop with a very nice splat, getting it in a pretty tricky location for License to Krill to pick it up and make a good push. But now we have a 2v2.
Just got smacked in the head. Hey, hammer works in this game, all right? This isn't Splatoon 3. It's still very effective right here, as Turtle's trying to get some space going up here. So if they opt to take it to that left side, it's a little bit of the slower route, but it is the safer one. Dan trying to create some space. Bishop has something else that they want to say about that, but DRF getting marked here because of those ink mines, trying to find some ways to move here. And right now, the last couple of minutes have just kind of been stalled out. We saw fireworks early, and as long as things are stalled out, that's going to work in the favor of the Ink Lawyers as they just bleed more time off the clock.
Yeah, now both of these teams are in a position where if they want to make a push, they know it has to be a good push. They already had their aggressive pushes out of the way, so these little pushes on the side of License to Krill or Ink Lawyers aren't really going to be doing much, as we saw Ink Lawyers, as we saw License to Krill try and do. But now the Rainmaker is going to reset, and License to Krill has a lot of map control to work with.
And the tent as well, but you see the blobs coming down to erase the tent, and Greg's just going to back up and try to survive, wait out all of these things. Bishop does go down on the side of the Ink Lawyers, and now they got the offensive Stingray to work with. Blob getting taken down of Fusion as well, so Greg's patience is starting to pay off here with man advantage, just looking for the way to slip through. The tent goes down, but another player, so now you got Bishop and Fusion, who just spawned back in to shut down this push. Perfectly lobbed blobs by Fusion that shuts everything down, and the bomb rush to go along with it to shut down the push. What a great play.
That bomb placement was absolutely crucial. I'm pretty sure that License to Krill would have taken the lead if it weren't for them. And like you said, how conservative they were with the Rainmaker and just waiting for the perfect time to push forward. So License to Krill certainly not out of it yet.
Can they stall it over there? No, they get taken care of. A random splat. This is a scary situation. Roundy back here trying to shut this down, but Fusion is up as well, so they can guard that left side. But it just comes down to one more push from the License to Krill. They do have man advantage. Roundy getting taken down as well. 2v4. Is the Rainmaker going to get grabbed? It is up on that right side. They do have a path to go along here. DRF forced to bounce back along with the missiles. Fusion in right, but here comes Greg around the back door, taking care of Fusion. One more player to build, and it just comes down to Bishop. Can they make an arrow play? They do not. Oh, wait, no, they're still alive.
He made the jump.
There's nowhere for Turtle to go. Oh, no. Ink Lawyers escape the canal.
Such a close game. The Ink Lawyers were in such a good position to try and get the win. And we just saw all of the energy that was on stage.
They should have won that. They should have
Oh
won
my
that.
goodness. Turtle so close to making that jump on the grates and having to retreat. It all started with Greg's push up the side, getting those key picks to try and push them forward. Unfortunately, it couldn't work out, but hey, we are already tied in our top 16.
I'm still trying to think. It was like a 1v4 situation. Greg with a perfect flank, and nobody recognized it until it was too late. I think the problem is Bishop's presence alone was enough to cause the hesitation to go up there, just because they know how sharp of a direct that Bishop can do and the distance that they have. So that probably caused a little bit of the hesitation, which allowed DRF to come in around that backside and just get the fall off with the tri-slosher. But yeah, that's the thing. The reputation of some players can be enough to be like, oh, I need to avoid this situation until they're down.
Right, yeah, especially when they're playing weapons that you know that they are familiar with or ones that they aren't familiar with. You don't know what they can pocket, but oh my goodness. I'm kind of speechless with
We're playing
that.
Splatoon, baby. We're playing Splatoon.
Splatoon 2.
Yes. And again, these players know each other. There's something on the line. I'm on the roster. Let me get up there, bro.
Yeah.
It's Clan Blitz at Piranha Pit. I want a piece of that.
Yeah. Now, did you actually play during pools, or
No.
you didn't play at all? Okay.
I didn't. No, I didn't want to. I didn't want to touch any of this.
You don't want to, yeah.
But it's now it's top 16. You know, certain maps pop up. You might be able to find. You can sub in on these things. I haven't seen anybody rotate a 5-man roster at this time, but I've seen it at other lands before. People rotating in people. The problem is it does take a little bit of time because you got to readjust everything.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
But Ink Lawyers, they've been killing it without me. They've been rocking and rolling. But right now, Clan Blitz at Piranha Pit. The map you love.
Game 2. One player's going to go down pretty quickly there for License to Krill. Oh, 2 players going to be going down pretty quickly as you might have to help me out with which team is on which.
Okay, so it's, License to Krill is the green team.
Yeah.
And Ink Lawyers here starting to get established right now, and they're going to get this opening push. And again, you can go 0 to 100 real quick, especially if you can find the way to kind of body block right now. And they do have the clams to work with the man advantage. DRF doing a good job of ledge camping. Turtle trying to come around that backside. This push is going to continue, Falco.
Yeah, honestly, a really good push with DRF just trying to get the splats on the players who are dropping down while the rest of their teammates are getting the clams and keeping it in. And look, this basket is still open. It's been open for quite some time. And when you have an aggressive push like this early in the game, that just sets the tone for what you want to do.
And again, on this map, this is a Rainmaker game that we're basically seeing right now on this Clan Blitz map. There is no such thing as a lead here. If time is on the clock, it's a tie game for either team because it's so easy to go from 0 to 100. But right now, Ink Lawyers still getting map control, still finding ways. And you can see Fusion. Oh, Turtle hopping and skipping away from those missiles. But you can see wherever they find Turtle, they are sending Fusion directly to them and making sure they're being harassed. Man,
Turtle's staying alive through all these pushes, surviving the Tenta missiles and surviving the jump. Bronze is going to go back and use Array. Looks like we have another special being used already, trying to keep up this defense, but 28 clams ready on the side of the Ink Lawyers.
And Bronze doing a good job of staying alive right there, but it's not going to add to anything. Now they're out of position and can't really do much to stop this push as all the penalty points are gone. Dan able to clean up, so that will end the push right there. But yeah, just another situation where map control is still in the favor of the Ink Lawyers, and that gives them a lot of room to work with.
Yeah, and when you have the map control and have the lead after your basket goes down, that's going to set you up pretty well. But right now, License to Krill quick on their response with Greg and Dan getting some clams in. Turtle trying to throw some in as well. Bronze hiding on the rail, but DRF spots them, and they're going to have a little 1v1 over there. It is just a K-Pro, just Dan who's alive, and this is going to be their first push, getting white, but getting all the way to 56.
And there we go. And we just crossed the halfway mark. Again, who cares? This map is It's fun to commentate, not so much fun to play.
No.
As Roundy able to jump in thanks to DRF's position on the backside, and a lot of clams that work with the potential KO possibility right here. As Tints from the Turtle able to bust, push some players back for a little bit. DRF getting a nice splat, and there's no more clams to follow up with this. But right now, the Ink Warriors, that's the third or fourth time they've been able to pop the basket in 3 minutes. That gives you the hint that they can find a way to get the KO right now. They can score at will.
Right, they're getting to the basket quickly and just putting DRF in a very good position as well. Every time the basket opened, we just saw them on camping the ledge, making sure nobody could go in. Right now, Turtle trying to push in with this curling bomb rush, trying to go on the side, working with the Brella, and it looks like they are going to be trying to form a power clamp, getting it in with 2 players down. This could be an opportunity for the Ink Warriors.
It is. They got enough. Well, License to Krill has enough to get lead right here as Fusion is trying to clean up the last player. Greg's still alive right now, and it has some clamps to work with. That won't be enough to get lead, but will be enough to stall out a little bit longer. So close. Nice pick by Greg. But now we go with 1:20 left to go. If I'm the Ink Lawyers, which I guess technically I am, I'm trying to end the game right here. I don't want the game to go to overtime. You got to get the KO at this point.
And License to Krill knows that they could potentially only have one more opportunity at this point, and it needs to be a good one. With 30 penalty points, a power claim isn't going to do it, but just like that, the Ink Warriors able to score. They just need 4 more clams, and as they're trying to push forward, but Bishop not really in a good spot. Actually, that's a wipe, never mind.
Bishop cooking. And again, I think the real difference here is Fusion's blob. Not just the fact that they're putting down a lot of paint, but they are targeting. It's obvious they are targeting Turtle and trying to eliminate that tint so that Bishop has more room to do what Bishop's been doing. Look at that 10 KA coming from the blob.
10 from the blob, 13 from Bishop, the Grim range. And I mean, I didn't think didn't look like they were in a very good position, but you just get 1 or 2 picks, pick up all the claims that are just in your path. You only need 4 more to win, and that's exactly what they did.
And a lot of teams, when they got a lead like that, they start shelling up, turtling up, if you will, and just trying to endure and let the clock run out. No, when you got lead, what do? Get a bigger lead. That's exactly what the Ink Lawyers did, and that is why they are now up 2-1 after letting game 1 slip away, so it's up to License to Krill to bounce back from this.
That's right, and this is a best of 5. The winner moving on to round 2. The loser going into the loser's bracket, where I believe that one is it best of 3?
If it's not, we're going to be here for a while, and
Yeah.
I got to go to work tomorrow, so I don't know, but we'll see. One thing I do want to point out here is License to Krill originally was going to be here with Brock.com, as you see on the roster. Came down with COVID, they tweeted out before the event, which we had a lot, well, not a lot, but we had some significant people not be able to show up last minute.
Right.
We know Black Wolf missing their flight right beforehand, some heartbreaking stuff. Yeah. So there's been a lot of shuffling around, and that is Dan from Assault to Pepper, who is subbing in for them. Not, has a similar weapon pool to what Brock would be using. So it's not too much of a change. It's not too much of an adjustment License to Krill has to make, but it is something to point out that they are technically using a sub here.
Yeah, it's not the team that you had been practicing and working with.
I don't think Brock used the Flingza, though. That's
no, yeah. So we do see the Flingza roller there, getting some good Tenta missiles with the double Tenta missile comp. Not much change on the side of the Ink Lawyers. I mean, for them, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. As we start this game 1, and License to Krill going to get that first cap.
And I like the fact that Bronze is switching over to ballpoint. That's something you can be a bit of a hybrid anchor with, but you can also be aggressive with that thing as well. And for them to get back into this one, Bronze has been the most effective player as far as Cade's Azar is concerned. Let's let that player move up and start trying to cook themselves as you see them being aggressive from this attic position.
Yeah, certainly. License to Krill just holding off and keeping this zone, getting the Ink Lawyer players as they are spawning back in now. And we do see the Flingza trying to get DRF at the top. And the Stamp is going to work really well with this Umbrella. Let's see where it's used. Oh, I guess not.
Well, they're going to throw it. They're trying to take somebody's head off there. But at least keeps people honest when you know the tent or the hammer is out on the field and you don't know where it is. You got to be very mindful of that. Paint control still in the favor of License to Krill. So you see Roundy working around this back side with Bishop, and they're able to cap the zone off of this. Those mines will slow down things a little bit. And that's what I was talking about. Bronze being more aggressive with that ballpoint. Worked out so far, 4KA.
Yeah, 4KA this early in the game. And again, with a weapon that we don't even see very often in comp. Right now, Ink Lawyers have it, just looking for some potential flanks, but nope, they do see the Tentabrella trying to spot them as License to Curl trying to find a good opportunity to push in. They do have 2-3 specials at the ready. The missiles are going to be used, but this is going to be enough for the Ink Lawyers to take the lead.
But they still have Hammer to use as well, and it looks like, Roundy getting taken down on the backside, but Greg going down as well. And now they know the Hammer is popped. I don't think Bishop realizes, they finally do. They got to run away from Pac-Man back there, but nothing really going with that Hammer as they chuck it into mid, and now you're looking at a possible KO situation, and it's starting to get a little scary for License to Krill.
Yeah, License to Krill needing to find an opportunity to break in, and it looks like they are trying to approach from each angle. And look at that Dan up top, but no, this is 2 players down for for the Ink Lawyers, and it's finally going to turn over to License to Krill, giving 68 penalty points to the Ink Lawyers.
It's hard to outpaint that blob. But as long as Fusion is alive, it's going to be difficult to cross the zone. Already 4 suction bomb rushes being popped as well from there, as we see Greg and Roundy. Oh, DRF, you don't interrupt 1v1s like that between 2 good friends. Ultimately coming in, getting the splat, and Bronze is the last one left alive. This zone should flip back to the Lawyers.
Yeah, especially two players using the same exact weapons. But yeah, it is going to be flipped back to the Ink Lawyers, letting License to Curl get all the way to 47. But now the Ink Lawyers have a little bit more map control to work with, but trying to keep up this pressure and keep the zone, not letting any members of License to Curl. And that's a very nice pick by Fusion, getting the flank, getting some picks as their penalty points are now dwindling. And are they going to get this one too? No, Greg is going to win that 1v1.
Greg with the fadeaway, calling Kobe as they go down there and taking care of Fusion. I was just about to compliment Fusion on being really good at aiming the blobs and the lobs of that thing. But Greg being able to get the better end of that one. Dan being very aggressive with this, flings the roller, trying to force the last of the Ink Lawyers to jump out. And all of a sudden, Falco, the penalty points are gone.
Yeah, penalty points are gone for License Krill. They're in a very good position with about 1.5 minutes left as Ink Lawyers trying to use some of their specials. They're using their missiles. They have the suction rush at the ready. And we see this pressure by the Ink Lawyers as they're trying to push in. And License Krill has a player down, so this might be an opportunity for the Ink Lawyers to push in and stop License Krill on their very dominant push that they've had so far.
You know, I've been talking about Bronze needing to push up, and Bronze has been doing that, leading the pack with 8 KA, tied with the lead across all 8 players in the game right now. But that does lead to a little bit more deaths, but still, that is the adjustment they need to make. Get Bronze involved more in the action on the offensive end, and so far, it's copped them into this game, and 39 penalty points is not much they have to deal with. If Bronze continues to get more splats there.
Yeah, they've had more penalty points that they've had to worry about before. And now License to Krill holding onto the zone, but Bishop's going to be going up top trying to get this flank. They're going to have to avoid this stamp. Turtle is going to get DRF, and now waiting for a perfect opportunity, taking out a suction bomb. Oh, and this zone is still being held by License to Krill, but they have 2 players down. This is going to be hard for them to keep it up.
Yeah, they don't have enough paint to deal with this blob, though. Turtle's doing everything they can. Eventually, they're going to run out of ink, but now Dan coming in with Flingsa, and they do take care of 1 player, but they still aren't able to cap zone. Now with 15 seconds left to go, Greg going down. They have to wait to cap zone, bring it back into their favor, and they got to hold on to for a good chunk of time. And step 1 is going to have to be finding a way to deal with Bishop, who takes care of Turtle, but the missiles take care of 2 players. This is a fantastic situation for License to Krill to hold on.
And now License to Krill trying to hold on to this in overtime as members from the Ink Lawyers trying to push in. DRF is there on the side trying to push in, but it's going to be spotted. Bishop coming up the side. Can they take out other members of License to Krill? No. License to Krill still is holding on to this zone, but all players are alive. DRF is going to be going down, and is this going to turn over? Who's going to win?
How did they not cap it? How did they not cap it?
Yet. Oh my
goodness. How did they not cap it? They took care of the blob as well. Bronze eliminating the blob from the backside. They had the man advantage, but just not enough paint at the end. That's as close as you can get for a 4-game set, going into the favor of the Ink Lawyers.
You know, when you're in that type of position, it is so hard to decide, do I want to get the picks? Do I want to just paint anywhere on the zone? Because you don't know how much more paint on the zone you need to cap. So it's really hard to try and balance that.
That's the thing. You had that situation where Fusion was on the flank side, just completely outpainting that. And if Blob is going to outpaint Ballpoint, so it made more sense for Bronze to go for the Blob. But once they got that splat, I needed to see the replay to figure out how they weren't able to cap zone right there. And if they do, we're automatically going to a game 5. But
I know.
Man, that's Splatoon for you, baby.
That certainly is.
That was fun.
I mean, the Ink Lawyers, you wouldn't like you could say this set would you couldn't tell who was going to win any of these games based on anything that happened.
The Clan Blitz game was but even I was about to say the Clan Blitz game, but even that one was in doubt for the lawyers at some points right there. Yeah, License to Krill winning game 1, coming back in overtime. They should have won game 2.
Yeah.
They should have won game 2. To
Yeah.
their credit. And that's what sucks about events like this, because that game 2 is going to live rent-free in some of those players' heads for a long time.
Oh, certainly.
Maybe that game 4 as well.
Yeah. I mean, we've had games like that, too, when we were playing in the bronze bracket, where just like, oh, if we just made this one adjustment, we could have pulled it off and taken it to game 5 or something like that. And but again, like you mentioned, both of these teams are very good friends with each other, and they kind of knew this was going to be a bloodbath between these two.
It could happen again.
Yeah.
This is a double elimination tournament, so it is possible that they'll meet again at some point. And hey, if they do, maybe I'll not be here and I'll hop in. I want a piece of that action. That looked fun.
See,
that
now,
looked fun.
You can't give them a pep talk between now and their next game, where I'm sure before you were kind of kept in the loop and commented how their games went.
I was kept in the loop to some extent, but it's not me at all. I didn't play, and I told them straight up, like, I don't even want to. I just want to.
Yeah.
I want to get through this weekend, but. Those guys have been playing great. The more they play together, the more they figure it out. I know when we were warming up in scrims leading up to this, it was, okay, how do we get DRF to complement Bishop?
Right.
And I think it's more so DRF starting to complement Fusion instead, and Fusion being the one that just kind of works in tandem with Bishop, and then Roundy being the experienced veteran, the shot caller on that team, who just does all the right things necessary to win the game. So it's a well-oiled machine, and I don't want to go in and mess it up, but I'm definitely going to take those results for as we usually do with anything on the roster.